In this week's Technique Tuesday video, I'll be conducting an experiment in reusing yarn. I'll compare swatches knit with frogged yarn in various stages of kinkiness to a swatch knit from the original ball of yarn. As always, if you'd like to jump right to a specific point in the video, there are direct links down in the description. What I have here are 4 swatches that were all knit identically. And what I'm going to do here is show you what happens when you ravel your knitting and then reuse it. So we're going to do, this is going to be the control swatch. Again, none of these have been washed and blocked. They're right off the needles. They're exactly the same size, and I've cut yarn tails the same size. I've put knots in the starting tail of each one so I can tell which one is which. So I've got 1 knot for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, and 4 for D. I knit all of these about 2 days ago, and so I'm going to ravel half of this swatch now so we can see how kinky it is after just a day or two, and then I'll wait a week before I ravel the rest. These 2 swatches I am going to wash and block, and then I'm going to ravel them. We'll see how much kinkier the swatches are when they are raveled after having been washed and blocked. For one of the swatches, I will do something to counteract the kink. I'll be steaming the yarn and letting it dry before I wind it up and reknit it. And with this one, I'm just going to reknit the swatch with the kinky yarn. Then what we'll do is compare the 4 swatches again after that in their unwashed state. And then I will wash and block all of them and see the results. Now I've left an extra long tail at the bind off just in case that for some reason reknitting the swatch ends up taking more yarn. So this is swatch number 2, or swatch B. It's got 2 knots in the tail, and I'm going to ravel half of this swatch. Okay, this swatch is half raveled, and we're going to leave it until next week. This is swatch A, which has been knit but not washed or blocked. This is swatch B, where I ripped out half of it a day or so after I originally knit the 4 swatches. And I left this sitting here for a week to see if it would get any kinkier when pulling it out. It is a little kinkier than it was. If it sits for months and months at a time, it can get very kinky. It can get just as kinky as it can get if you wash and block a swatch. So this really isn't terribly kinky. It is kinkier than what was ripped out just a day or so after. These 2 swatches were swatches C and D, which I knit and then I washed and blocked both of them, so they are both essentially the same. I want to compare what an unwashed and blocked swatch looks like compared to washed and blocked. So this is a little bit stiffer. This has got more drape to it. Once it's been washed, the yarn will relax and it will be smooth and it will lie flat, where this swatch is kind of curled up a little bit. It's flipping from the garter stitch, and it's reasonably smooth. It's just not as smooth and even as the washed and blocked swatch. Now I'm going to frog both of these swatches. What you can see right away is just how kinky this yarn is. So this is the difference between the 3 types of frogging. This is frogging pretty soon after the item was knit. This is frogged a week later, and this has been frogged after the swatch was washed and blocked. This is very similar to what you would see if you hadn't washed and blocked the swatch, but you had just left it to the side for several months at a time. So if you had a problem with your knitted item and you gave it a timeout and you put it to the side, and when you came back you needed to rip it out, it wouldn't look like one of these. Even though you hadn't washed and blocked it, it would look a lot more like this. So at this point I have 2 piles of what look like yarn ramen noodles. And then I have this pile here that is much less kinky. And what I'm going to do next is re-knit all 3 of these piles of yarn into swatches again and compare those to the swatch that was only knit one time from brand new yarn. But what I'm going to do to make it different is that rather than just knitting both of these as they are, for one of these, I'm going to steam the yarn to relax it. I wound this like I would wind up an electrical cord or a rope or something like that around my elbow through my hand. And because it's so kinky, it shrank up. And so it's about the size of my hand right now. So I have a fairly large amount of water in the pot. And then I put a baking rack across the top. I want there to be enough water to keep generating the steam, but I also want my hands to be far enough away from the steam that I don't get a steam burn. So I'm just going to put the yarn on here, and then I'm going to let it'll take about a minute or so. I can flip it over a few times as it relaxes. So to compare, here is the unsteamed yarn ramen. Here's the steamed ramen. It still has a little bit of wave in it, not a lot. And then here is the yarn that was ripped out without being washed and blocked. So there's a little difference between those two, and quite a lot of difference between these two. So there's still a little bit of wave, but not a whole lot. This is the control swatch, Swatch A. So this is the swatch that has been knit, has not been blocked, it has not been frogged. It's the original swatch knit with unused yarn, previously unused yarn. So here is swatch number 2, or Swatch B. This is the swatch where I ripped out half of the swatch after knitting it, and then waited a week and ripped out the rest of it. And so the first half wasn't really, there was almost no wave to it at all. The second half had just a minor amount of waving. But essentially the two swatches are, these two swatches are very comparable. There's some slight irregularities in them, in each of them, which is just due to me being a hand knitter and not a machine. But there really is no difference between them. This is Swatch 3 or Swatch C, however you want to look at it. And then this is also the swatch that I steamed the yarn to relax it. So you can see here again, it looks pretty much identical to the very first swatch that was never washed or blocked. They just look very, very similar. Now, if you compare the yarn tails at each end of all of these, they're very close. I think Swatch B had a little bit shorter tail at the end, but it turned out the tail at the beginning was a little longer. I didn't quite cast on at exactly the same place because, again, I'm not a machine. But there's really no extra tail or shortage of tail altogether with any of with either B or C after reknitting them. So this is Swatch 4 or Swatch D. This is the swatch that was knit, then it was washed and blocked, then it was frogged, and the yarn was allowed to remain kinky. Actually, I have this upside down. Now, this is an interesting one. I do have a little bit of extra yarn here, and I measured this, and this is basically enough yarn to knit one more row. So out of the 35 rows that I knit, I ended up with about a 1 row extra. And I didn't really have any, my cast on, I had a little bit extra because I may have cast on a little tighter for this one than I did the first time around. I'm not sure. Clearly, this does not, in its unwashed state as it is now, does not look like this. It looks a lot worse. There's more unevenness in the worked stitches, but again, this has not been washed or blocked. So I was curious about what I may have done or what the cause might have been that would result in extra yarn. Like did the yarn stretch out? Was it stretched out and then steaming it would have brought it back into its original length? Or did I do something different when I was knitting with this yarn that would have caused me to end up with extra yarn? If I line these two swatches up, swatch number 4 is very slightly shorter than the first swatch, and it's about 1 stitch narrower at this time without having been washed or blocked. It's about a stitch narrower than the original one. So it's possible that what I did as I was knitting, because this is kinkier, that I actually knit a little bit tighter when I was knitting this swatch. And if I knit tighter, that would make the stitches smaller. And because I have the same number of stitches in both swatches, it would have made it the swatch smaller, and which would have caused some yarn to be left over. So it wouldn't necessarily be that this yarn was stretched out and that there was more yardage available to me. It was that I knit tighter because the yarn was kinkier and it was causing me to subconsciously do something different when I knit this. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to wash and block all 4 swatches and see if there's any difference in the final results. This is swatch 1 or swatch A, however you want to look at it. This is swatch 2 or swatch B. This is the one where I just ripped it out shortly after I had knit it. So I had a little bit of wave to it when I knit it. The resulting washed and blocked swatches they're essentially identical. This is swatch number 3 or swatch C. This is one of the swatches where I washed and blocked it, and then I ripped out the yarn, and it was very kinky, but then I steamed it to relax it. And it wasn't quite as relaxed as swatch number 2, but it was certainly relaxed enough to knit with it with no difference in the result, either before washing and blocking or after. They looked the same before washing and blocking, and they look the same afterwards. Now, this is that swatch that I knit with the kinky yarn without steaming it or washing it or doing anything, and it was a little bit smaller, and it was a little bit smaller because I had knit it more tightly. I'd subconsciously knit more tightly. I have a little weirdness on the borders here because I forgot to work completely in garter stitch, but that's irrelevant. I did soak all of them in the same soaking water. It was a very warm water. It was cool enough I could put my hand in, but it was quite warm, and I let it sit in the water for a couple of hours. Now this is pretty smooth, but it's just not as smooth and even as the other ones are. And I know from experience that if I were to soak it a second time, that it would get completely smooth, and I could probably block it to being as large as these. Now, one option I didn't show today was soaking the reclaimed yarn, squeezing out the excess water, and then allowing the yarn to dry before winding it into balls for reuse. Depending on the climate you live in, waiting for the yarn to dry can take a couple of days. But this option makes a lot of sense when the quantity of yarn is large, perhaps several balls worth or more, and you have the time to wait for the yarn to dry before reknitting it. Unlike the steaming process, you have very little to do in terms of monitoring the process, so soaking involves the least amount of actual work. Now, what can we make of this little experiment? You may have come away thinking that knitting with severely kinking yarn would be a terrible mistake. I've been knitting a long time, and I know that my knitting tension can be influenced by a variety of things, from needle type to body position to knitting faster than I normally do. When I designed my experiment, I didn't think there would be any real difference in the amount of yarn used when the swatches were reknit, but I did think it was possible that kinky yarn might result in slightly looser stitches and therefore more yarn would be needed. This is why I left extra long tails after the bind off, just in case I needed more yarn. This assumption backfired on me. I was so focused on the possibility that I would use more yarn that I ended up knitting tighter, which caused me to use less yarn, resulting in a smaller swatch. My takeaway was this: if I rip back fairly soon after knitting and the yarn is just mildly wavy, there's absolutely no need to process the yarn in any way prior to reknitting. If the yarn is particularly kinky, but it's a very small amount, reknitting with the kinky yarn will not be a problem gauge-wise, because I know from past experience that doing so has had no ill effect. If, however, I need to rip back a moderate to large amount of yarn, I see the value in steaming the yarn I will use in the next day or two in order to prevent myself from subconsciously knitting tighter to compensate for that kinky yarn. If I have several balls worth of yarn to rip out, I'll go ahead and soak the yarn I won't be using immediately. The yarn I used here was 100% wool. I have steamed yarn that was 75% wool and 25% nylon, but I would be cautious about steaming 100% synthetic yarns because I would worry about killing the fiber and leaving it limp. If you have a quantity of acrylic yarn that you would like to frog and reuse, you might consider conducting an experiment yourself to see whether acrylic yarn is best reclaimed by soaking and drying, or if it can be successfully relaxed with steam without killing it. I hope you found this experiment enlightening. I certainly did. I would encourage you to experiment with frogged yarn to see which techniques you prefer in different situations. If you have any comments or questions about today's video or suggestions for videos you'd like to see in the future, you can leave those down in the comments below or join the discussion in my Ravelry group, Rocks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.